On here, I know that I missed it. I click on here, I know that I hit it. Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer Cars. We're going to go through some hidden gems in the infotainment system in a Mark 7 Golf R, Mark 7.5 actually, and I'll show you some interesting and unique things that you want to turn on that you may not have known about. The first thing I get asked about a lot is with the infotainment with the radio. When you turn the radio off, I have this indicator on the screen, and you don't get that one by default. Excuse the fingerprints, touchscreen life. So how do you get this nice clock on the display? Put your hand close and you'll start to get an idea. You get those dots, that means that you can change a setting. So all you do when the radio's off, you can just swipe on the screen. The default clock is this one, you just have to swipe it, and you get 4 clocks to choose from. I really like the second one. The other thing about the Mark 7.5 infotainment is that all the buttons along the side went to capacitive touch, and by default they're completely silent. They don't make any noise when you press them. So when you're driving and you want to be able to change a setting, you can't feel what's there. Like that little line, there's no texture to it. Volkswagen is starting to do this to a lot of their upgraded models where they're going all touch and physical buttons are going away. There's a way you can get some type of a feedback back in these buttons, and let me show you how. So first of all, turn your radio on and then go into menu, and it's that tick you do not get that tick by default. So from menu, swipe to the left, go into settings, go into display, and there's these toggles here. So you have a brightness setting, you can turn the screen off in 10 seconds if you really want that dark display, but it's this one. Touch screen tone I turn on so I know when I'm touching the screen. Menu button tone by default is off. Also animations when fingers near. Anyway, set those up to your liking, but menu button tone, this is how it is by default, where you get nothing. You don't even know what you're touching. I don't know why they would have made that decision to make it completely silent. So you see how I'm missing it, and I don't know that I'm missing it. Sometimes you can click here and you get nothing. So go into your menu, swipe over, go into settings, touchscreen tone is on, obviously, I turned that on. I believe it's all off by default, I don't quite remember. And so now, when I click on here, I know that I missed it. I click on here, I know that I hit it. Big difference, right? The other thing is just the sheer amount of settings and menus that there are. So every app has its own settings menu, so you can hit settings to go directly into the kind of flip background settings. But if you go into menu, then you can get at the settings for everything. So in here you can get quick access to all of the apps, but also to all of the settings. And then within here, these are the settings for the whole car, which I showed you before. So you can change things like mobile data transmission. You can send data back to Volkswagen or not. How to completely reset the whole car. Turning your Bluetooth on and off is in here. One of the hidden gems with Bluetooth is that I turn off Bluetooth audio. So that way if there's someone in the car with the phone and the phone is connected to the car through Bluetooth and they want to watch a video, it's not always trying to play the phone's audio through the radio system. You want to be able to have that person listening to audio through their phone. So I turn off Bluetooth audio when you're trying to watch a video on your phone and it refuses to play the audio, because in order to play Bluetooth audio you have to be in Bluetooth media mode. It does not automatically switch to that audio source when you're listening to the radio, because most of the time if you're going to plug in a phone and run it through the car, you're going to be hardwiring it in through CarPlay. So that's why I turn Bluetooth A2DP off now, because most of the time if I'm playing audio through my phone, it's through CarPlay, not through Bluetooth. The other hidden gem is related to CarPlay or Android Auto. So with your phone plugged in and you've got your app list up, now that transforms the ability to use the voice control. If you just hit once, it's the useless Volkswagen voice control, which always gets it wrong and never does anything right.
Pardon?
If you long press on the voice button, hi Siri, how you doing? Now you can talk to CarPlay.
Hey, I can't complain. Thanks for asking.
Try it this way. Okay, you can do it that way too.
Sorry, we don't seem to be navigating anywhere.
This other hidden gem is related to Apple CarPlay in particular, is that if you have removed Apple Maps, then you can never get this view. I've just learned this. I restored Apple Maps because if you're using Siri to look up something, she will not give you a phone number or directions unless she has Apple Maps access. So I restored Apple Maps, even though I plan on never using it, but it did enable this view on the screen. So it also allows me to do things like telephone number lookup for places that I do not have in my phone. Through Siri, you need to have Apple Maps. And then you can get this type of a display as well. So you can have your home screen, you can have full screen apps, or you can have the split screen apps. Most of these buttons have triple options. So just keep hitting the car button and then you can go through performance monitor, energy consumers, since start, blue trainer. There's multiple settings. So don't think that you can just hit it once and then that's it. Some of them are that way, but see this one, then it pages you through. So every little thing works a little different. The app one, depending on if you have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, it works a little different. Radio, instead of hitting the band and then choosing what you're in, you can just keep tapping radio and it'll cycle through. Same for most of these things. This last one is related to the car navigation. Now there's a couple of interesting things with car nav in that if you have the map not on here but expected to be on here, then you can run into this situation where you don't have a map anywhere. So you have to move over on your screen to get to navigation, and then you will get the map in your gauge cluster. Did you see how the gauges changed? I have it set that way, but by default it's in the small menu, and that's how you change it. You just hit OK, and that'll change between big map and small map. What I do not like about map in the digital gauge cluster is that when you program and you're actually using it for guidance, you don't get any turn-by-turn directions in there. It all shows up over here in this small little window right there. That's kind of useless because the whole point is you're supposed to be looking straight ahead at this, and then you don't get your turn-by-turn directions because they're over there. So most of the time I end up putting the map back over here, and to do that, just when you're in nav menu, you just go to map and it automatically puts the map back on the display. Then you get a compass in your digital gauge cluster. So those are a couple little settings that I like to tweak on my Volkswagen. I've had them set up that way since I got this car and ever since. I also keep my map in dark mode all the time on the navigation screen. All right guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.